Welcome to a new video with the electric trucker. Today I'm at Iveco and I'm testing the Iveco S-E-Way H2, a hydrogen truck. This is the alternative to electric trucks, and before you can say which is better or whether hydrogen trucks have a future, you have to try it out yourself and gather experience. And I've never driven a hydrogen truck or car before, which is why I'm here today. And the truck looks absolutely gigantic. It's a 6x2 configuration, so with 3 axles it's much longer than a normal truck. Technically it's similar to my S-E-Way, but the look is a whole different ballgame. It looks super modern and is also aerodynamically optimized. There's an extension at the back where the hydrogen tanks are installed. The hydrogen tanks are behind the cabin above one another, and there are also hydrogen tanks on the left and right, which give us a capacity of 70 kilograms at 700 bar with a range of about 800 kilometers. In my Iveco, there are 9 battery packs, but this vehicle only has 2. The batteries drive the electric axle at the rear, but the difference is that the electricity is produced with the fuel cells. This Iveco has 2 fuel cells with 100 kilowatts each. And this is Sarah from Highane. Highane rents out hydrogen trucks, and we have the opportunity to drive one of the trucks before they go to the customer. We are now in the truck, and it has exactly the same interior and menu as my electric Iveco. It shows us 80% capacity and a range of 663 kilometers. And because it has 2 axles, both are displayed in the menu. It won't have an axle load problem like my electric Iveco. You also have the recuperation lever in 6 different levels, and also 1 paddle driving. So you can say that the truck is relatively beginner-friendly, and you are not overwhelmed with additional information. And you can't hear anything. You don't know whether the fuel cells are running. So acoustically, there is no difference to the battery electric version. The rear axle is a steering axle, and despite the excess length, you can still transport normal ISO or standardized trailers with this truck, which means there are no restrictions. It has the same electric axle with the same peak power, but the power is limited to 480 kilowatts because it has only 2 batteries to draw power from, compared to mine that has 9. But if you extrapolate, that's almost 600 horsepower, and that's more than enough. It would be really exciting to know whether the power is coming from the fuel cells or the battery, but perhaps such information is not relevant for everyday use. But you can hear the fan of the fuel cell every once in a while. But the truck is snappy, and it only has 1 gear, which makes it really comfortable to drive. It weighs just under 12 tons because it has far fewer battery packs, but of course it has the 3rd axle. But with the 12 tons, it can be used without restrictions for normal trailers with a normal payload. 700 bar costs 16.67 euro per kilo and 14.89 for 350 bar. That's at least more transparent than charging with an electric truck and its dozen providers. We are now at the fuel station and have the fuel card here. And then it's similar to filling up with diesel. We check in and pay, and on the other side is the fuel pump. We inserted the card, entered the PIN, and I have to turn on the refueling mode that opens the fuel door. Now we can fill up with 700 or 350 bar. We want 700 bar, and you can't mix it up because the plugs don't fit on both.
Filling the truck with 700 bar takes about 20 minutes, but it also has a fueling curve that looks similar to the charging curve of many electric cars. Basically, the last 10 to 20% take a long time because the pressure in the tanks is already higher. With this Iveco, you can fuel with 700 bar, but also with 350 bar. The difference between 700 and 350 bar is that they use different tanks with different pressure levels. We can fill up with 700 bar and have a range of 800 kilometers, but we can also fill up with 350 bar and the range will be around 400 kilometers. It is a bit more expensive to compress and store hydrogen at 700 bar than at 350 bar, which is why manufacturers take different approaches. Some manufacturers only use 350 bar because refueling is relatively quick at around 15 minutes. With this Iveco, you are a bit more flexible because you can use both. When companies rent vehicles from us, they also get a fuel card because we are the biggest buyer of hydrogen in the mobility sector. We have negotiated hydrogen prices with most providers, and our customers benefit from it with reduced prices. We have 100 vehicles in our fleet, and these large, heavy trucks are in high demand because they are perfect for long-distance transport with maximum flexibility when refueling.
While we refueled, the next truck arrived.
That is a hydrogen combustion engine from Kia. It has a combustion engine that burns the hydrogen, so the truck was converted from diesel. We don't have such vehicles in our fleet, but as a combustion engine, the truck is not as quiet and smooth as an electric one. And our theory is that it's not as efficient, but we don't have any experience with it yet to confirm it. We refueled 12 kilograms of hydrogen for 211 euros before discount. With a full load of 40 tons, consumption would be 8 to 10 kilograms per 100 kilometers.
The plug is locked during the refueling process, and it's freezing cold at the tip. Now we put the cap back on, and off we go.
We could only charge to 92% because the fuel station is still missing the update to be able to do full 700 bar refueling. That update will come in the next few weeks. and our range at 92% is 850 kilometers. We filled up the truck with hydrogen in gas form, but there is also liquid hydrogen, which has an even higher energy density. That would give you 1,000 kilometers of range with the same tanks, but it requires a different type of infrastructure and different fuel stations.
Sarah, you are the founder of Highane, Europe's largest hydrogen rental company. Would you like to briefly explain the company and its background?
We are a subsidiary of the DEVK insurance company, and our motivation was to decarbonize heavy road transport. In contrast to passenger cars, you have a huge leverage to reduce emissions with just a few heavy vehicles. But the capital required to buy such a vehicle is extremely high, and many transport companies cannot or do not want to bear the investment risk, which is why we buy the vehicles and rent them out in a simple and low-risk model. We offer a complete package from registering the vehicles with all the special permits and applying for subsidies to advising our customers on which routes which vehicles are suitable, and of course our own fuel card with negotiated discounts. The 3 EVCOs from today are our first EVCOs. Most of our trucks come from Hyundai. They are produced in Korea and we import them.
I've developed the eTrucker app for charging stations for electric trucks, but it's a bit easier for hydrogen trucks because there's the H2 Live app where you can see the fuel stations all over Europe. And you can also see which 700 bar fuel station is full. You have to think of it like a battery storage system. The tank has to be filled with pressure, and if there are a lot of trucks coming one after the other, then it might not be available. And here you can also see the price and that it is 100% green hydrogen.
Green hydrogen is produced using renewables, while grey hydrogen is made from natural gas. In the beginning, you have to take a pragmatic approach and work with what is available, which at the moment is a mix of green and grey hydrogen. But as more fuel stations and vehicles are added and the demand for hydrogen is secured, it will be easier to switch to green hydrogen. And most of the new fuel stations that are opening are offering 100% green hydrogen, so it's going in the right direction. What also helps is the carbon emission trading for green hydrogen, which provides additional incentives and ensures that it is economically more attractive to rely on green hydrogen.
Waiting for everything to be perfect and only then buying a hydrogen or electric truck is nonsense. We don't have the time to wait. We have to take action early, because these trucks are a huge factor that drives the energy transition in the first place. Sarah, what is your vision of the transport industry for the next 5 to 10 years?
We are firmly convinced that we are moving away from diesel and towards alternative drive systems. It will be a mix of electric and fuel cell trucks, but it remains to be seen how much of each. What is certain is that this change is coming, and we are trying to provide our customers with the best possible support.
And companies can contact you and get advice. If they are interested, and you don't have to be a large company, you can also make an inquiry for just one truck.
Exactly.
We are back. The test drive was successful. Sarah, thank you very much for the opportunity and for all the information. You can think what you want about the technology, but the look of this truck is absolutely bombastic. I have never seen such a cool truck. My conclusion is pretty much as you can imagine. The truck is relatively unspectacular to drive, and if you're used to an electric truck, it will drive exactly the same. It accelerates well, recuperates well, and there are no difference in the interior to the battery electric version. A little more data about where the energy is flowing, how much is in the tanks, how much the battery is currently charged would be exciting, but maybe it will be added in the future. And these are the first large, long-distance hydrogen trucks to be delivered. There is a lot of talk about them, and people think that these are already on the road, but these are actually the first ones to be delivered. Theoretically, you could charge the batteries with electricity, but they didn't install a socket. We didn't have a trailer today and weren't under time pressure, so the consumption data is not representative. But in the future, I want to go on a long-distance tour with a hydrogen truck. And with the fuel stations already existing today, you should be able to drive all over Germany. Maybe Iveco or Highane will let me borrow a truck, and I can compare the data with my e-truck. Greetings from the south of Germany, and see you in the next video. Till then, ciao.